this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record, our zoning director, Tom Ferrara, is excused. He has a zoning meeting that conflicted with this one. So we have the agenda before us. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions from the agenda?
Yes, I do have one addition under law director. I'd like to add continuing litigation.
Anything else? Okay, the agenda will stand as edited. So the first item is unfinished business.
Thank you. I have a resolution before the board to authorize payment to Austin Drain Cleaning for installation of vinyl plank flooring.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Is Rob got his plumbing certification as a part of all the?
Hey, yeah.
He's gonna need it once the toilet explodes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you'll see, Rob was able to get 2 quotes. We couldn't get anybody to come back on a third, just tried and no response, and Austin Drain was clearly the lowest.
Yeah. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. Thank you. Item number 2 is a motion to pay Soul Harris Day for professional services.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. Thank you. Item number 3 is a resolution to enter into agreement with the Board of Stark County Commissioners for the operation and maintenance of the stream gauges for the Nimishillen Creek drainage basin.
So moved. Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that's the end of unfinished
Thank you.
business.
That takes us to new business.
Thank you. I have a resolution to hire Baker Dugal for representation and outside litigation for Plain Township.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
This is the Brian Ames thing, right?
Yes.
Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. Thank you. Item number 2 is a housekeeping resolution to authorize the Plain Township Board of Trustees to file an application for the Muskingum Watershed Conservancy District Partners and Watershed Management Project Assistance for funding and agree to obligate the necessary funds to complete what we're calling the Meadows Preserve Project.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Short, just to play off of this, the EPA avenue is not viable based upon feedback they provided to the folks I'm working with at Western Reserve. So outside of the Clean Ohio funds, this was the other approach that they were looking at, to where we may still potentially be able to get all costs covered. Worst case, we're still in for the quarter with just the Clean Ohio funds, and it's got a pretty strong chance on. Got a number of letters of support. This just soil and water, Parks District, and let's see, Stark Park, soil and water, Plano School District. So
Nice. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. And that's the end of new business.
Thanks. That takes us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf?
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize pending warrants in an amount of $469,581.05.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the investment report.
Okay, any questions, see Tom later?
Fiscal Officer number 5 is a resolution to set a public hearing for the 2023 alternative tax budget on August 17th, 2022 at 12 p.m. and further authorize Plain Township Fiscal Officer to publish a notice of the public hearing in the repository at least 10 days prior to the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion, we already have that scheduled, so
Yep. Yes.
we're all set for that. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 6 is a liquor license permit for Canton Count LLC DBA Majority's Drive-Through number 17, 4321 Cleveland Avenue Northwest, first floor, Plain Township, Canton, Ohio 44709.
Brian, do we have any concerns with that location?
No.
All right.
No concerns, we'll move forward with that then.
Okay. And Fiscal Officer number 7 is a resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments for EMS as requested by Ohio Code.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
That concludes the Fiscal
Thanks,
Officer.
Tom, that takes us to the administrator, you're back on again.
Thank you. I have a resolution to increase the group term life insurance to $50,000 per employee, effective August 1st, 2022, for the attached.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion, I think this is a good idea.
Yeah, long overdue.
Yeah.
So just a question, because I know every workplace I've been, it's typically either a minimum or one time your annual salary. Were we able to get a quote what that would look like just on?
Anything over $50,000, the employees would have to pay for, and then that starts to involve, medical checkups, and so it's set up a little
Through
differently.
the specific organization,
Through everybody that they've quoted.
because I've never had to pay for it, but there's a taxable value, like, whatever the premium is, it's a taxable imputed value is the only thing that's essentially charged, because it's a line item on the,
Yeah, the employees have a chance every year to increase it by $10,000 without question, but to do any big increases after this, it depends on your age, your health,
Oh, yeah.
all of that,
it's a small cost.
yeah.
All right,
Anything else, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to create a separate fund to receive the One Ohio funds under the revised codes 5705.09.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion.
This is essentially the $4,000 some dollars that we'd already had.
Mhm.
Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
The next item is a resolution to provide a uniform allowance of $750 to all full-time Parks and Recreation employees effective July 27th.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. My last item is a resolution to enter into the attached service agreement for the Plain Township Wellness Program with Corfit, and to grant 8 additional personal hours to all participants who successfully complete the program to be scheduled with their department head.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that's the end of the administrator report.
Thank you, that takes us to Fire Chief Schellenberger.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to accept the job description of battalion chief for the attached job description effective March 21, 2022.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion.
Any major call-outs as compared to the prior description? 'Cause I think there were a few tweaks.
Yeah, so basically it's some housekeeping from our union contract, added some, language for, reprimands and some other, job duties to, correspond with their pay increase.
Puts them closer into the chain of that
Yeah.
discipline
For disciplinary
slash
action.
evaluation.
So,
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 2 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment, installation of emergency lights and sirens and miscellaneous from Hall Public Safety Outfitters, not to exceed $15,000.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees for to authorize attendance and payment for fall fire classes at Ohio State's Bowling Green Center to include registration, meals, and mileage.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? I think this is, historically, this is a good fire school.
Yes, and then we were using that for the 2 new fire inspectors.
Yeah.
I had to get some cause and origin classes done, so they're gonna be attending, and then one other person.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been up there for a long time. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes the fire department. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chuck. That takes us to road. JP?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Road item number 1 is a resolution to adopt the following revised supervising foreman's job description and make part of these minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Again, anything?
Just cleaned it up.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of did a complete overhaul of it, just, it
Sure.
needed cleaned up.
Perfect. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 2 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to Southeastern Equipment for a new BOMAG plate tamper not to exceed $2,671 from the following fund.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll
This is
call.
just, oh, sorry.
Oh, go
This is
ahead.
just replacing an outdated, maintenance is advising me that, it's no longer repairable, so it's been in more, in the shop more than it has been used this year, so.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 3 is a resolution to accept Paul Burke's retirement after 38 years of service with Plain Township, effective August 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
And it will more formally thank him for his years of service, but
Yeah.
he's been extremely competent. No quiet at some
Yeah.
points, but
Very dedicated.
yeah.
Yeah, can't say enough good things about Paul.
He's got a lot of history knowledge too.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
hopefully, knock on wood, God forbid, we do need to pick his brain later on.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be no problem
Yep.
getting a hold of him. He probably, would be more than happy to
Yeah.
give you the,
If you look at the letter attached, I think he says,
Yeah.
if there's anything that I can do in the
No,
future to benefit
I-
Plain Township,
that
please let me know.
wouldn't surprise me at all, not at all.
Absolutely.
So, anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Okay, last item for tonight is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to McIntosh Oil for gasoline, oil, and diesel at a cost not to exceed $35,000 from the following funds.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. That's it?
Yes,
That
that's it.
takes us to zoning,
Thank you.
and Lisa will do the zoning.
Yes. I have a resolution before you for abatement pays A through D.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that's the end of the zoning report.
All right, that takes us to parks, Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you. Resolution before you to hire David Nussbaumer as a soccer supervisor and concessions worker, with no benefits at $12 an hour to be paid from the following funds.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you.
That takes us to the item that was added from the law director, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir, thank you. As you know, we had a vexatious litigator complaint filed against Mr. Armitage in conjunction with Altman Hospital, and I believe some others. That at one point was dismissed without prejudice. The time for refiling that is upon us. As you also know, Otarma is paying for that lawsuit. It's of no cost to the township. I just want to confirm that we remain authorized to refile that lawsuit, and if we do, a simple yes would suffice. Doesn't have to be a motion.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would think the consensus would be, for the record, we do not need a resolution, but for the record, our consensus would be that the board wants to continue with that process.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Thank you. That takes no communications. This is the part of the agenda for public speaks. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board at this time, please stand, give your name and address to the fiscal officer, and then you have the floor. Anyone here? Okay, that was easy. All right, no concerns of trustees, so we do have a resolution, which I will make to approve the minutes of July 12th, 2022.
So moved, or second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. So we do have a need for an executive session. I will make the motion, be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to the executive session at 6:17 PM from this regular meeting of August 3rd, 2022, as authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose of the consideration of 1B, promotion or demotion of a public employee or official, 1F, compensation of a public employee or official, 2A, the purchase of real, personal, tangible, or intangible property, and number 3, a conference with the law director or other retained counsel concerning pending or imminent court action.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.